ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਗੈਰੀ ਥਾਂਡੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਰਜਿਸਟਰਡ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਵਰਕਰ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਚਲਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਜੈਨੇਸਿਸ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ। ਆਪਣੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ ਨੇ। ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇਣੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਨੀ। ਇसी ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਇਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 1 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਹੜੇ ਅਹਿਮ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ, ਆਓ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗੈਰੀ ਥਾਂਡੀ ਨਾਲ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you.
Thank you. So Gary, it's been about a year since you've started operating. Of course, this got into inception about a year and a half back. But basically, since 1 year, you have been working, meeting people. So if you could just tell us, how did you get this idea, and what kind of issues and challenges the people are bringing forward?
Well, the reason I got the idea, it was with several other people as well that are counselors and social workers. And we felt that despite what everybody was doing, there were so many people that were not getting help.
Right.
They were suffering, they were on wait lists, maybe there was no programs available. And we thought, let's do something different. Let's just try to help these people. Let's forget about different eligibility for programs. Let's just work with them. If they need help, let's help them.
Right. So that's how it got started. Now,
Yes.
basically, since then, lots of people have started coming to you.
Yes.
And you are helping the youngsters, you're helping the elders, you're helping the women also. So basically, till now, if you can just, like not specifically in generalized terms, if you can talk, what kind of major challenges the people are facing and they're coming and talking to you guys?
So we offer services in many different languages. English, of course, Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, Arabic, Farsi, Cantonese, Mandarin, Spanish, Vietnamese. And so we are seeing people from many different communities. And often the issues are family difficulties, conflict in the household.
Right.
That creates a lot of stress. The children may be struggling in school. There may be behavioral issues in the school.
Right.
So we see children that have those type of issues. There may be mental health concerns for the clients that are coming to us. Addiction. Domestic violence, so the same kind of social issues that affect all communities. We are seeing these clients who need help,
Right.
and may not have gotten that help if we weren't there.
Okay. Now, as you talked about the family issues, family is the foundation for the success of any community. Now, in the families, is it just because of financial some issues, challenges that family disputes are arising, or there are some other reasons for which people come to you?
I think finances can be a big one, budgeting. I think differences between the mom and dad on how to raise the children, sometimes that's a big one. Just different obligations that the husband and wife might have to different family members outside the household. And also it's two people who, when they first get married, they're two different personalities.
Right.
And sometimes because the communication wasn't as strong early on, problems will grow bigger. And so people will argue and they maybe don't deal with those issues very well.
Right.
And then they get bigger. So sometimes it could be quite simple. It could be issues of just communication and how two different people communicate differently. But if they're not dealt with early on, then they get bigger.
Right. Now, of course, as you said, it is in all the communities these issues arise over this, especially family disputes. But if we just focus right now on the South Asian community, do you find that the reasons in our community are different than the mainstream? How do you deal with those?
There's many common ones, but there's also certainly some different ones. And extended family members and the influence that they may play is a big one that doesn't happen in a lot of other communities.
Right.
So that could be other people in the house. Often when the man and woman marry, they might live with the man's parents. So that isn't a bad thing. It's just, again, there's extra people there with different personalities, different ways of communicating.
Right.
And so there could be conflict there. There may be differences in child raising, that the different ways that each of the husband and wife were raised, they bring in their own sort of perspectives on child raising, so there could be conflicts there. But I think the extended household piece, I think sometimes in some parts of our community, people will not necessarily get help because of issues around stigma.
Right.
And again, stigma is in all communities, but it can be certainly strong in our community.
Right.
And so sometimes people are a little bit concerned about that. The other big one is we have, often we have more traditional marriages, arranged marriages, and there's nothing wrong with those marriages. Although sometimes you have two people that didn't know each other very well,
Right.
and then they get married, and so there's a lot of learning that takes place. So then you add in all the extended family members. During those early months and years of that marriage, there could be a lot of issues that arise.
Right.
And if they're not handled early on, then they continue to grow.
Right. So two major issues. One is the question of stigma, and the other is the perception which was existing in our community that if you go to social workers, you will be separated, you won't get patched up. Is that perception changing, and also the stigma issue also, especially amongst the youngsters? Do you find some change?
Absolutely, I think it is changing. Even new immigrants that are coming here, much more open to counseling. Part of it is, I think our system hasn't done a good job in helping people in many ways, because a lot of times those services just aren't available, or
Right.
there's long wait lists, so if you have a problem, it continues to grow until you get help. Again, that's why we started Genesis. We wanted to work with people much sooner. So we encourage people and we try to get the message out. It's better to come and see someone that can just listen and be a third party that has no interest in that situation, but can just listen and provide some feedback and support. So it is changing, and I think again, our systems need to be better at addressing that issue. And even for Genesis, we operate inside a medical clinic, and so often the first person that a woman or man tells about their problems is their doctor.
Right.
And so their doctor can refer to our services, which are free. And so we feel we can reach those people much sooner, because they may not even know they're not necessarily looking for help.
Right.
But when they talk about it to their doctor, their doctor can tell them, at least at our clinic that we operate in, that here's this service available, and there's no wait, and you can get help right away.
Right. So that environment also makes the difference, because people feel more secure under one roof, and then there's no hesitation also many times, that they can easily go and get their issues solved.
Yes.
Another issue what we find and listen in the media is about seniors abuse. Is it quite prevalent in our community also?
I think it is prevalent. Again, it happens elsewhere as well. The different dynamics again may be that the senior is in the home.
Right.
And if there is conflict, it may escalate. Unfortunately, that is what tends to happen in a lot of cases, especially if they don't get help. And I'm just saying, counseling is just one part of help. They could also go to other family members and get help and support. Trusted family members that can really provide support and not just make things worse. So elder abuse, absolutely. I think the problem there again, in those cases where the elder is being abused and lives in the household, is it can escalate and things worsen.
Right.
But certainly it is a concern. And there's an elder there that may not be physically too strong and capable, and has to rely on the members of the household.
Right.
And again, so it can lend to exploitation. Just the fact that a senior lives in the household isn't, of course, a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing if those
Right.
family members are all respectful towards each other.
Absolutely. Thank you for your perspective.
Thank you.
ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗੈਰੀ ਥਾਂਡੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਹਨ ਜੈਨੇਸਿਸ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਅਤੇ ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਤੋਂ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ 1 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜੋ ਇਹ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਇਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਇਸ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਮਕਸਦ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੈਲੰਜਸ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਸਾਡੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਬਲਕਿ ਓਵਰਆਲ ਸਮਾਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਪਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਸਪੈਸੀਫਿਕਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਾਕੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਰਲਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਰਕਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਹੀ ਮਦਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ। ਇਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਹੋਏ ਡੋਮੈਸਟਿਕ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਹੋਣ, ਬੁਲਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਾਂ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਵੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਝਿਜਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਆ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਮਿੱਤਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਸਮਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਟਿਗਮਾ ਦਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੈਂਪ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ। ਅੱਜ ਬੇਝਿਜਕ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕੋਈ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਸੋਲਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਾਰਮਲ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਸਕੀਏ।